Hey guys, thanks for joining me. So in this video I'm going to be going over 5 benefits to using gymnastic rings, and as you can see I've got 2 different types of gymnastic rings here on either side of me. So if you stick to the end of the video, I'm going to give you my recommendations when it comes to looking for gymnastic rings, explain why these two are different so you guys can make the right decision if you decide after watching this video if you want to get yourself a pair. So with that out of the way, let's jump straight into the video. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is the first benefit of using gymnastic rings is they make bar exercises harder. So it's a way of creating progressive calisthenics, another way of progressively getting harder with calisthenics. And what I mean by that is if you were to do a normal bar pull-up, if you were to then do that on a ring, it's going to be harder. If you're going to do bar inverted rows and you want to move into bar ring rows, it's going to be harder. The same with push-ups, the same with dips. All of these exercises are going to be made more progressive, they're going to be made harder. So the great thing about it is if you're someone who has been doing normal calisthenics and you want to find a way to make these exercises more harder, I challenge you to start doing them on rings because they will make it harder. And there's many people that have tried to jump up on top of them to try and do some ring dips, and they'll realize that they're absolutely shaken because we're going to be using muscles and training our body in a different way to create stabilization. It's a new way of training. It's going to be a new stimulus, which is going to be great for some of you who are looking for a new way to progress your calisthenics, but you don't want to go through, say, weighted, but you want to go into a more progressive form of calisthenics. Okay, so at number 2, this is very customizable. So this is what's the benefit of using gymnastic rings, is the fact that you can change the heights, you can move them from left to right. So basically, if you're setting yourself up for a pull-up, or you're setting yourself up for a dip, or a push-up, or a row, or even using them to hold on to for doing sort of leg exercises, these are extremely customizable to who you are. So sometimes you might jump up on a dip bar and a dip bar is too high, or it's too low, or maybe you might find it's not wide enough, so you end up being too narrow, or it's too wide for you. With these, you can set them to your customization of how your body is built, how long your limbs are. So basically, you can turn the pull-up, the dip, the push-up, whatever exercise you're doing, you can get it to fit for you, so you're able to do that with good form, good technique, and it's going to be a lot easier on your body to do that if you can make the exercises more customized to your body. So next one we're going to be looking at number 3 is we're able to recruit our stabilizer muscles, and this sort of goes into the reason of point 1 and why it is a form of progressive overload or a more of a progressive calisthenics type of training, is because we're going to have to start recruiting more of our stabilizer muscles. So as we get stronger, we need these muscles to be stronger because we need to make sure that our joints are safe. We need to have a stable platform to be able to exert force from. So if we're able to strengthen these stabilizer muscles, they're going to be stabilizing our joints and everything like that. It's going to make us stronger, it's going to make us more bulletproof, it's going to make us be able to train for the foreseeable future for a lot longer. So it's very, very important to not just focus on the big flashy muscles like our chest muscles or our back muscles or arm muscles, is that we need to really start focusing on training those little minute muscles that we may not think is important because they're not very big, or they may not add to what our aesthetic look that we're going after. But these stabilizer muscles are very, very important, and without them we're not going to be able to exert force effectively, safely, and it's going to affect our impact to be able to train for the foreseeable future. So by training on rings, we're going to be training our stabilizer muscles, we're going to be strengthening them, which is going to strengthen our joints, it's going to allow us to start exerting more force. It is going to be a great way of incorporating into your training, strengthening those stabilizer muscles. And the other things as well is for some of these exercises, say if you're going from a bar dip into a ring, you'll realize that your numbers are gone. You'll realize that there's a little bit of strength, there's a little bit lost there, that you didn't realize how much harder they're going to be. And because we need to create that stabilization, you'll find that your chest muscles, as well as the other stabilizer muscles that are going to be responsible, your chest muscles have to work harder. So if we can focus on this, we're actually going to be increasing our strength by forcing our body to have to create stability, and that makes our muscles have to work harder. It's also going to make our central nervous system and other things like that recruit muscles more effectively, and that's in the long run is going to make us stronger in the future. So the next one we're going to be looking at number 4 is it makes progressions and progressions easier. So for instance, if you're someone who is just learning how to do the pull-up and you're not very good at it, so one of the ways in which you do it, and I do have a video on how to do your first pull-up or be able to do more pull-ups, I'll leave a link to that up above or it'll be down below. And in that video we're talking about the inverted row, and one of the ways in which we can make the inverted row progressive is we need to change the angle of our body so we're able to get stronger and progressively make it more challenging as we get stronger and then build up towards the pull-up. The same as if you're going to be doing the push-up I've got another video on how to be able to do your first push-up or increase the number of push-ups. I'll leave a link to that up above and down below as well. But again, with that, we're playing around with the angle of our body so we can progressively get stronger as we change the angle. We're changing the amount of proportion of our body weight that our pulling or pushing muscles have to move to be able to complete the rep. If you're using something like gymnastic rings, you can change the height or however you want to be able to do it to change what you're doing, where if you're normally fixed to a bar, it can be a little bit more restrictive or harder to make it like that, where something like this, especially because you have numbers on there, you're able to keep track of how high or how far away you're standing from that bar with the rings, because we have certain adjustments like the numbers on there, so we can make it progressive and we can make little small increments as well. So if you're someone who's looking to do the pull-up or the push-up, wants to progressively get stronger at the row or the push-up, having rings allows you to make progressions and regressions. It's a lot easier to create and it's a lot easier to track. So the fifth one we're going to be looking at is they are easier on your joints. So for a lot of people who are doing pull-ups or chin-ups, they find it's actually quite difficult on their joints. You know, especially if you've got bad mobility, especially at the bottom of the chin-up, people find it puts a lot of tension on the wrist, and then some people, if they do a lot of pulling exercises, a lot of time they get problems in their elbows. Where if we have something like rings, we've got that ability to rotate during the rep, which you can't do if you're holding on to a bar. So it makes it a lot easier on the joints. Again, if you're doing rows, if you're doing push-ups, it makes it a little bit easier. Same with something like the dips. The dips, sometimes on a position it forces you in, it can be a little bit more challenging on the wrists. If you do it on the dips, you can change the width and you can actually bend and rotate the rings, so your body is then able to move around it a lot easier than you having to move around the bar. These are a little bit more movable and it allows your body to move around, which makes it a lot easier on a joint, which is then going to reduce the you guys of getting injuries or that repetitive strain injury where you're constantly putting stress on the joints and on the connective tissue. So those are the main 5 points. But I said that I was going to talk about which rings you should go for and actually talk about some of the different ones that I've got here. So the 2 rings that I've got here is one from Kenzu Fitness and I've got one from Pull Up and Dip. There will be links down below. I also have discount codes for both of them, so if you want to save yourself some money, there'll be all the information will be down below. But one thing I do recommend, whatever ring that you go for, is I definitely recommend you going for a numbered strap. One, it makes it, when you're trying to level them up, it just makes it far faster, makes it a lot easier and less of a pain in the ass. When you're trying to track and manage progressive overload, it's a lot easier to know that the last workout you did it on number 3 or you did it on number 4, or last time I did it on number 4 it was easy and now I need to make it more challenging. So you're going to go either 3 or 5, whatever it is that makes it more harder or easier. Now you've got something you can actually be able to track. So definitely recommend getting numbered straps. The other thing we're going to be looking at is I would recommend going for wooden ones. Wooden ones just feel a lot more comfortable, and I just think they're one of those ones that they just last longer. They're easier to grip and they're a lot more comfortable to use. They may be a little bit more than the plastic, but I definitely recommend going. What we have here is something quite different. This is from Kenzu Fitness, and what they've actually managed to do is they've got these rings that have different thicknesses. So for some people, they might find doing some of the gymnastic moves a little bit more comfortable with maybe the thicker bar, the thickness, because it's broken down into different sizes. One of them is going to be on the 28 and I think the other one's 32, so the thickness or the diameter of the thing. So some people might find that doing the actual gymnastic moves, maybe sort of like muscle ups or things like that, they might find it more comfortable with the thicker one, where if you were to do sort of like your pulling exercises or maybe your pushing exercises or vice versa, you might find it a little bit more comfortable having the thinner diameter. So this gives you a little bit more flexibility, say over the pull up and dip one, just because you can then pick a diameter or a thickness that you then find more comfortable, whether you're training to do the false grip or whether it's just doing normal pushing and pulling exercises. You can then actually find a thickness that is more comfortable for you, so you can then get the most out of your training. But like I said, links to both of these products and discount codes will be down below, so I recommend checking out one of these two. They're going to be the best ones. Plus with these ones, they've got the thinner straps, which makes it a little bit more portable, and they're a little bit thinner as opposed to maybe these ones, which are a lot thicker. But it depends what you're doing. It doesn't really make much of a difference, but they're both really, really good. But these are just smaller to carry around. But guys, I have got another video on gymnastic rings where I talk about some other points on there as well, but I wanted to make more of an updated video for any of you that are new or any of you that are getting used to the idea of doing gymnastic rings and you're wondering What's the benefits of them? People, I see them on calisthenics using gymnastic rings. What are the benefits of them? Should I be using them? Well, I hope at the end of this video you guys have got at least 5 great reasons why you guys should start incorporating gymnastic rings into your training. And it's something that they're very, very cheap, they're very affordable, and they're also very versatile. So guys, you can definitely get a lot of benefits out of using them, so I highly recommend that you give them a go. At least experiment with them and see if you like them. You may prefer them, you may not, but at least give them a go. So if you took the value from this video and you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If you want more calisthenics content or anything to do with bodyweight fitness, hints and tips guys, workout videos and product reviews, make sure that you subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified of whenever I upload, and I'll see you guys in the next video.